NBA Tip-Off Hotline presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Use the promo code Patrick. Make any $5 bet this week. Get $200 if your team wins. I was reading Chris Mannix's latest column, one of the great writers with the NBA and senior writer with Sports Illustrated. Mannix joins us on the program. Before I get to the NBA, white men can't jump. Good, great,
Oh, great. Yeah. And hopefully not to be remade in some haphazard way over the next few years.
I think it's being remade. Isn't Jack Harlow the rapper? Who else is in that movie, Marv? Do you know?
Efforting.
Okay. Yeah, it's being...
I had this feeling, though, Dan, when they remade Point Break years ago, which wasn't actually terrible, the remake. It wasn't awful. It could have been a lot worse. It just didn't make any sense. I mean, if you had given me like the option of going to a theater to see Keanu Reeves, Gary Busey in the old Point Break or a new Point Break that I've never seen, I would have chosen the old Point Break in a theater. I feel the same way about a White Men Can't Jump remake.
All right. Marvin's working. Yes, Paulie.
Yeah, we have multiple confirmations. White Man Can't Jump is in production. Blake Griffin's one of the producers. The musician Jack Harlow is set to make his acting debut in it, and that's about all the details right now.
That's not going to go well.
Wait. Well, who's going to be his counterpart in White Men Can't Jump?
It says a gentleman by the name of Sinqua Walls.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe he's got more game than Wesley Snipes did. All right, Mannix. The Lakers situation, I know that you said you got to make this move right now. But and if you're the Pacers, if you make this move, they're in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, so they'd like to unload whatever talent they have. Why hasn't this deal been done?
Because it's a steep price for the Lakers to pay for two players that may not guarantee them anything more than a playoff appearance. The teams that are talking to the Lakers, they want at least one or both of those 2027 or 2029 draft picks. And they want them unprotected because the expectation is the Lakers who, look, even though they won the championship in 2020, in the last, I think, 9 years, they've only, been to the playoffs 2 or 3 times. Yeah. So there's a pretty good chance that when we get to 2027 or 2029, that team is a mess. But the Lakers, they made their deal, Dan, when they extended LeBron James. They committed to doing whatever it took to win a championship over the next 2 or 3 years. So while I agree that Miles Turner and Buddy Hield doesn't guarantee anything, it at the very least makes you better right now. And at the very least gets you into the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, maybe you can lean on LeBron to do something special. But you ask what the holdup is. It's the steep price the Pacers have been asking in the past the Lakers to pay.
Yeah, but I start to wonder if the Lakers front office is saying, hey, LeBron, you got yourself into this. You get yourself out of this. We don't want to mortgage our future when you're not going to be here. Do you think there's any validity to that?
Well, there was validity to that before LeBron signed the extension, right? Like if LeBron had not signed that extension, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The Lakers would be completely justified in not mortgaging the future for a guy that may only be there for the remainder of the season. But LeBron extended for 2 more years. He's going to be a Laker. God knows how long his career is going to last, but at least through these remaining quality years of his career. So the Lakers, when LeBron did that, look, this isn't conjecture. Rob Pelinka came out and said last month, we're going to do whatever it takes, including those picks, to make the Lakers better. Well, the deal that's available right now, the best deal available, involves Indiana and involves Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. And it feels like, Dan, that this is going to get done eventually. Like I keep hearing the Lakers, they're going to wait till Thanksgiving before opening up things for Russell Westbrook. That's like, I don't even know what the comparison. It's like a wait till Thanksgiving before I decide which swimsuit model I'm going to go out with. Like the market's open for Russell Westbrook right now. He's available right now. There just is no team out there other than maybe Indiana or perhaps Utah, who would offer up a Mike Conley-centered package, maybe Jordan Clarkson, to get a deal done. So the Lakers, they've got to do it, or else this season it very easily could unravel quickly.
And then meanwhile, you have the Clippers, who nobody talks about. Now, I know that they're up there with being one of the co-favorites, or one of the three favorites right now. But what do you see with the Clippers so far?
I'm going to reserve judgment on the Clippers until around Christmas time, because I don't like the Kawhi sitting out games this early because of the knee is problematic. He's 15 months removed from surgery. Like, that's well past the normal time it takes for players to recover from a procedure like that. There's a chance, and I've talked to people within the Clippers, that they're just being overly cautious, abundantly cautious with Kawhi over these first couple of months as he re-ramps up. But I think around Christmas time, we'll know what we have with the Clippers. Not just if Kawhi is able to play 75, 80% of the games and still be the old Kawhi Leonard, but also, is their point guard position championship level with Reggie Jackson and John Wall? Some of the depth they have on that roster. I just need more information about the Clippers before I can judge if they are the finals contender we believe they're going to be.
I know it's a small sample size. The Nets are off to their worst start since 2015. They won 21 games that year. They fired Lionel Hollins as the head coach. I'm watching. I mean, Kyrie had some unbelievable plays last night. Crazy, unbelievable plays. But it still comes back to Ben Simmons. It's you can't watch the Nets without just watching Ben Simmons, what he does and what he doesn't do. And I'm wondering, at what point is this? Can you make him a starter? Can you bring him off the bench? Give me the. I guess he's a liability here, Chris. I guess there's no other way to put it.
He's not a asset right now, that's for sure. Watching that game last night, he had a couple of good moments. He defended well at times on Luka Doncic. He finished a couple of shots around the rim. But then you can see it in his eyes. He's not comfortable in a position where he's going to have to shoot. Like, you can see it. Like, when the camera pans to him, he has that kind of deer in the headlights look when it's an opportunity for him to either take a shot or collect a ball near the rim, whether it's he's afraid he's going to miss. He had that airball layup, which was not good. Or if he's afraid to go to the free throw line where he's still not comfortable shooting free throws. I don't think the Nets have much of a choice but to keep rolling him out there 30, 35 minutes per game and showing confidence in him, because that's what this is all about. The skills in Ben Simmons are still there. All the things that made him great in Philadelphia are still there. His confidence right now, though, looks like it's just a wreck. Mm-hmm. So if you're the Nets, the only way to rebuild that confidence is to play him and to keep pushing him out there and see if time resolves some of the mental issues he's been dealing with.
Talking to Chris Mannix, the Sports Illustrated senior writer. This Klay Thompson situation, I don't know if it's a big deal, little deal, no deal, but minutes are reduced. He's struggling. He's not the player he once was. I don't know if he ever will be, but, what happened with Devin Booker, what do you make of that? Is that just a one-off that, hey, bad night and, he'll be okay down the road?
We'll see. It was certainly the level of frustration we haven't seen from Klay Thompson in the past. When I talked to scouts about Klay before the season, I talked to people that watched or were involved with in the Dallas series. And the one thing that kept coming back consistently was, look, Klay's still making shots. Like, you leave him open, he's going to beat you every single time. But he's not as quick off the dribble as he was before the injuries. He's not the defender he was before the injuries. And we're now a good distance away from his return to basketball, and he's still not that guy. Now, will that come back over time? I don't know. But Klay Thompson right now in his 30s, it's unlikely he's ever going to get back to being the player that he once was. And I guess it all depends on how Klay deals with that. Like, is he willing to accept some limitations in his game? Because those limitations are there right now. It doesn't mean he still can't be a top player. He helped that team win a championship. They didn't win a championship without him last season. But I don't believe we'll ever see the Klay Thompson we saw before the two injuries, because his body at least the people that watch him tell me his body just isn't letting him do the things he was used to doing.
How are my Cavaliers doing?
Well, when Ricky Rubio comes back, they'll take off. But right now, they're playing. They're great, Dan. Like they're 3-1, right? With Garland still dealing with the eye injury. The Mitchell trade looks like it works. They're still trying to figure out who goes in that Lowry Markkanen old spot, whether it's Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade. They're throwing a bunch of guys in there. But the Mitchell deal worked exactly as they wanted it to work. They needed another playmaker. They needed a perimeter scorer, and that's exactly what Donovan's been. He's averaging almost 30 points a game, and he's playing defense at a level we didn't see last year in Utah. I mean, I can't buy the Cavs as a contender this year because there's too many young pieces there. Like, I don't know what Evan Mobley's going to do in the playoffs. Mitchell has had playoff success, but not at the highest level. Garland, same thing. Don't know what he's going to do in the playoffs. But of all the young teams in the league that are kind of on the brink, that's the team I'd want to be the most because they've got enormous upside over the next couple of years. And if Mitchell is happy there and wants to stay around and wants to extend his contract, that's a team that can be a contender for multiple championships down the line.
We're going to have that moment this year, it feels like, with Victor Wembanyama and these teams that, managerial tanking, I guess. We're going to see this maybe with the Pacers. Maybe we see it with them. I thought Utah was trying to do that. But how do you discourage tanking if you're the commissioner?
I mean, what was that? What did the owner in Major League do? You trade away all your good players. Like that's kind of what you do. Look, I'm sure Danny Ainge isn't sitting in his office in Salt Lake City thinking he's going to be a buyer now that the Jazz started 3-1. Like the 19-win Sixers started 3-0 on their season. Like the things regress to the mean, and some of the things the Jazz are doing are probably not sustainable at the moment. But you are going to see these teams that believe they have a chance to finish in that bottom three trade away guys, or in the case of guys they want, bench them for the rest of the season. The NBA hates it, but there's nothing that they're going to do about it. The question, it's not new, right? I mean, Oklahoma City sat Al Horford the second half of the season a couple of years ago. They've sat Shai Gilgeous-Alexander seemingly every season that he's been there. The question is not, will teams do it? It's how early are teams going to do it? Will we see a team or teams with the audacity to shut down players before the All-Star break because they want to stumble and lose enough games to get in that bottom three? That's what I'm most interested in seeing. You're going to see some guys traded away, and you're going to see some guys shut down at levels that you've probably never seen before because, not to make this about Victor, but he is, outside of LeBron, and maybe even more than LeBron, the best prospect we've ever seen. He is transformational.
More than LeBron.
Maybe because LeBron coming into the pros was physically remarkable, right? Like you never saw a high school player that looked like that. But he had some flaws in his game, right? He wasn't a perimeter shooter at that point, and he had a ways to go to become a complete scorer. Wembanyama's out there, shooting a good percentage from three. He's 7'4". He does everything, a little bit of everything right now at a really high level. And if you're a team like Indiana, Utah, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, a place that doesn't have a prayer of landing a player the caliber of Victor Wembanyama in free agency, you will stomach 3 months of bad basketball and public criticism for the opportunity to get your hand on him.
Have a great weekend, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
You got it, Dan.
That's Chris Mannix, great NBA writer for Sports Illustrated senior writer. We'll take a break. By the way, DraftKings, take advantage of the NBA tip-off hotline presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Promo code Patrick. Make any $5 bet this week, get $200 if your team wins.